Hi, in this video I will be demoing a few different aspects of Centrify. I'll be logging in with a smart card to both a Windows machine and a Mac. I'll be doing single sign-on with a Kerberos ticket in order to get to a Unix machine. And I'll also be doing privilege elevation on both a Unix machine and a Windows. And also, finally, I'll be doing multi-factor authentication to a smartphone or smart device. I actually have an iPad in this case. So here, let me log on. In my environment, my test user is Mike Smith. I'm logging on with my smart card, put in my PIN. So now I'm using my smart card to log in. I get a Kerberos ticket for Active Directory. And now what I can do is I can use PuTTY to single sign on and log into a Unix machine using that Kerberos ticket. So here, this is actually Centrify's PuTTY. You can use any SSH client that can grab the local Kerberos ticket. With Centrify, we've given you a PuTTY here that actually has the this set up. The Kerberos ticket, the PuTTY session itself can grab the Kerberos tickets. Here we go. Look in SSH, and you can see that it will attempt to use Kerberos. So now I'm going to log into a Unix machine that's been Centrify. That is, it has a Centrify agent on it. So it's joined Active Directory. So my Kerberos ticket can now be used to single sign on to that machine. And there you go. Notice it says at the very top, using Kerberos authentication, log on. So another thing I can do, if you notice over here, here's my iPad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an elevated privilege command, and that I have it set up to do MFA, multi-factor authentication, by sending information to my iPad, to my smart device. It says, hey, this person's doing MFA, do you want to let them? So normally you might do sudo Centrify's elevation privilege is DZDo, so all your policies are stored inside of Active Directory. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do elevation command. Now if I click over here to my iPad, you'll notice it says in the very top, since if I login request, I'm going to click on that, and I can click on it, have it pop up, and notice it says the IP address and the city state that it's coming from. I'm going to approve it because this is me. And there you go. So I elevated my privilege, and I had multi-factor authentication prompting me on my smart device to let me in. We can add other different multi-factor authentication mechanisms, but I chose to use the Centrify Mobile Authenticator. So just so we have some more information showing up here, I'm actually going to VI a file. Let's do the SSH deconfig. So what I'm showing you here is later on I'm going to show you the audit session from here, and you'll be able to see this VI session. So I'm not going to make any changes, but I did have I used DZDo to raise my privilege, and notice it didn't ask me again for MFA. That's because I have it set up so it doesn't ask within a certain time window. Every 15 minutes or so it'll re-ask me. That's all policy driven. So I've done the privilege elevation on Unix. Let's do it on Windows. So inside Windows, I have an application here, dist-defragmenter. I'm going to click on it, and my account does not have privilege to run this. Dist-defragmenter takes privilege. If I try to analyze it, I'm not allowed. Mike Smith is not allowed. So I'd have to have someone else's ID and password, or better yet, let's use Centrify to raise my privilege. So I right-click on here, and I say Run with Privilege. And now I'm going to use my smart card to authenticate. And now I've raised my privilege, and now I can run that application with the elevated privilege. And when it comes up here, you'll see if I go to analyze the disk, there you go. So this is a good way of, a lot of people need to do multi-factor authentication, two-factor whenever you want to elevate privilege. You don't need to wait for the applications themselves or the vendors to update all their applications to then take a smart card instead of a password. What you do is you make all those applications so that nobody can run them at all with their regular account, and you have to raise your privilege before you're able to run any kind of application of importance. You could do this with any application besides dist-defragmenter. So let me log off here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log on to a Mac machine using a smart card. And then it would basically show the same kind of thing. On the Mac, we can also single sign on over to a Unix machine. So my virtual machine has recognized a smart card here. So now I can continue. So I got a smart card inserted. Type in my PIN. So now I'm going to log on to this Mac with this smart card. Now we also have some group policies that I'll be showing you in a bit here that we can lock down these endpoints so that smart card is required. So people can't log in with a password. So again, I have a Kerberos ticket. I've logged in with my smart card. I got a Kerberos ticket from Active Directory, and I can use that to single sign on to my Unix machine. So I'm going to go over to that same Unix machine, and boom, look, it logged me in. So I wasn't prompted for a password, and it used that Kerberos ticket to log me in. And just to prove that, let me exit out. So there's a command called klist. I can look at my Kerberos tickets, and then I can destroy them. So now I don't have any Kerberos tickets. So now that SSH session shouldn't work. Boom, there you go. So it's not being allowed. We got that GPO on both the Mac and the Linux that says smart card login is required, which really means no passwords. You got to use a Kerberos ticket or a smart card. So that's not working for me. So that's it on the showing how it works. Let me show you basically that group policy that I was talking about. So let me log out here. So this is in Centrify, we give you group policy templates to load into Microsoft's group policy editor. And I have, we have specific templates for Unix and Mac machines. So I have a template here in my Linux machine, smart card required, that is enabled. So that again means you gotta log in the smart card or the Kerberos ticket. It denies password-based logons. And if I go to my GPO for the Mac, I have it again set. So when you log it onto a Mac machine, requires smart card login. And I just want to point out here, there's also an exception group, and I have mine as an AD group called piv exception. So if someone doesn't have their smart card with them, do you send them home and they go get it? Or do you allow them work for the day without a smart card? So you can set this group policy that says smart card required to log on, but there's an exception group. So if you forget your card, call the help desk, call security, and they put you in this AD group for 24 hours, and now you can at least work for the day. So again, this is an exception group you can add to the group policy if you'd like to do that. So what I can also do now is show you the analyzer here. So when I logged on all these machines, I have Centrify's direct audit running. So some of these machines, these sessions from earlier, so we can look at them here. If I can look at any one of these sessions, we are capturing. It's like you had a video camera over top of someone's shoulder. These sessions were all captured. Now we can replay them. I can look at the command list and see what people did. This was a user, Diana Worth, from earlier. I can look at the people I logged in as Mike Smith. Look at the commands, right? So these are all the commands. I can do a bunch of queries to find out who ran dzdo or sudo on any of my machines in the past week or so. And any time here, I can now replay this session. So I'm not going back and I'm looking at a session from earlier and I'm replaying it. And I can play it here. It's a DVR. I can fast forward it. So you can actually recognize some of the things I did earlier. And then you also see that the VI session. So again, it's like a DVR. I can go through, fast forward, whatever I want to do for the session, and all the data on the left side is also metadata that I can search for and query. So I have it for both Unix and I have it for Windows. I can look at the event list, everything that I did. I did some SSH to different machines, launched the disk defragmenter, things like that. You'd see Microsoft Management Console. You notice I ran this application with Centrify's direct authorized run as role, and then I can replay this. So this is the auditing session. Again, like you had a video camera over top of someone's shoulder, we played everything we did. Fast forward, basically show you everything. The engineering session, the NSEN 6 session, run the disk defragmenter. So we can fast forward these things and we can go through it however we need to. So let me show you as well the event logs. So if I go over to the Windows 7 machine, this is the machine that we logged on earlier. I have an admin session on. So I want to show you the event viewer. So the Centrify direct audit tool, it does log to the local syslog. Let me refresh this. And you notice earlier, we're capturing all this stuff, and we do have, this is a special event viewer for the Centrify audit trail, and we write this into the event logs. So if you have any kind of SIM system, this can be sucked up into those systems, and all the information is in here. So notice earlier, these sessions that I ran earlier, you can see inside of here that basically Mike Smith ran the disk defragmenter tool as a certain role. So you have an audit trail that erased our privilege. I showed you how this event showed up inside a Centrify's tool, the direct audit analyzer, but we're also writing data to the local machine so they can be sucked up by SIM systems. So this is inside the a Windows machine. It's in the event viewer, and I can even go to the Unix machine itself, and inside the var log messages, I can actually look for it, and there's an audit trail. And notice here, remember when I logged on with Mike Smith from the Mac machine and I took away my Kerberos ticket, I was denied. So you can see a lot of these denies in here that happened when I could not log in because I didn't have a Kerberos ticket. So again, we log everything. The direct audit trail is locally, and we're also sending it into the direct audit analyzer. Well, that's really it. That's all I wanted to show here. Thank you for your time.